This weekend, clubs across the EFL, including Exeter City, will be taking part in Stonewall's Rainbow Laces campaign, which supports LGBTQ+ inclusion within our beautiful game. The motto is Lace Up, Speak Up and Make Sport Everyone's Game. With that, Exeter City will be celebrating with rainbow corner flags, the captain will be wearing a rainbow armband, and we'll be proud to invite Alan Quick from the proud Grecians and his colleagues who will be here at the game to chat all things LGBTQ+ inclusion. There's also a special match day programme, and we'll have special Rainbow Laces match day graphics on all our social media channels. We caught up with Exeter City women's captain Manfy Sharpe and men's midfielder Harry Kite earlier this week to have a chat about the campaign and how both sides are getting behind it. Thank you very much for joining me, both of you. So to start really, this is a campaign that's been around for over 10 years now, but Manfy, I know we spoke about this last year, but for you, Harry, what's your understanding of the campaign and why it's so important?
Yeah, so like you say, it's been around for about 10 years or so. I think it sort of has highlighted the experiences on and off the pitch of the LGBTQ+ people. And I think, as you've seen recently in the last couple of years, I think, especially in the men's game, it's a lot of people have felt sort of more comfortable coming out with their sexuality, and I think that's a big part of charities like this that are helping raise awareness for that they feel more confident that they're able to come out and speak about how they really feel.
Manfy, Harry just said that there about in the men's game, it's pretty recent that players have started to come out, but in the women's game, it's so normal that players don't really come out at all in the women's game, do they? They just open from the start.
Yeah, for sure. I think women's game is a little bit less of a taboo to talk about. It wouldn't change the way we look at each other whatsoever, whereas men's, it's a bit more of a bigger platform maybe, and they're more susceptible to online abuse, that sort of thing. Yeah.
And like you said, these campaigns only recently, really, for players in the game have started to show how important they are. So I think last time we had this conversation with you and MJ last year, Manfy, we were still waiting for a player professionally to come out, and since then we've had Josh Cavallo in Australia, Jake Daniels from Blackpool, who became the first in the UK, and then most recently Xander Murray plays in the lower league in Scotland just last month. So people often question, why do we need campaigns like this? I think those three that I've just mentioned in the men's game have really shown why, Harry.
Yeah, I think obviously it takes a lot of confidence in himself to be able to sort of admit that to the fans, the club and his teammates as well. And I think that it was a great role model, like you say, the first person coming out, because it probably gave the other two that have come out, like you say, recently, more confidence to be able to do it themselves, because they've seen that someone sort of stepped up and been able to do that. And like you say, I think with the help from charities like this, and it gives them sort of, like you say, a bit more backing and more confidence that people will accept how they really feel.
The media narrative that's often spun is that the dressing rooms aren't welcoming places, and there's chanting from the terraces. And yes, we know that all exists, but the fact that these three that we've mentioned, Josh, Jake and Xander, have come out, it must mean that actually the dressing room environments in their particular cases, but almost as a whole, are suitable environments for them, that actually, despite every dressing room having different races, different religions, different people, that actually the average dressing room in football, men and women, is a totally suitable and comfortable environment for players to come out.
Yeah, for sure, I think so. I think you create a healthy environment within a changing room in a team. You are encouraging people to be themselves and not have to put on a mask and things like that, then you're going to get the more out of the player and you get the best person they could possibly be, and that's inevitably what you want within a team. So, like
Manfy said, I think it's important that everyone can be themselves and they're confident with how they feel, and I think with regards to that transfer into the pitch, I think players always perform better when they're confident, when they're happy and how they feel. And I think it's really important that you have an open environment in the change room, that yes, you have a bit of banter here and there like you do in any changing room, but people are honest with each other and people accept how people really feel, because everyone's only human at the end of the day, and everyone has feelings that they can make aware to anyone that can speak to.
I think I remembered when Jake Daniels told his story to Sky Sports. I think he came out to the Blackpool team and then the next day scored 4 in a youth game. So, I mean, what you said there is, it's a perfect example of that. I think we know the answer to this one, but would you say that we've got an inclusive dressing room?
100%.
Yeah, I think definitely. Yeah, I think everyone gets on really well, and like you say, to have an open dressing room for everyone to be able to speak with and say their feelings, I think is really important.
I've written down on my notes here, and I'm not sure if I mean it as aggressively as this, but toxic masculinity. Like you said, men often, there's a stigma that men don't talk about their feelings, and do you think that's part of it?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's hard for men to be able to. There's a big thing, isn't there, that men don't talk openly as women, and it's hard for them to be widely accepted because there are some people that still don't accept things like this, which is in this day and age is ridiculous. But I think it is harder for them to be able to talk to each other, and to get men talking, especially on a topic like this, is really important.
Harry, as an ally, how do you see your role in continuing the message that it makes sport everyone's game?
Yeah, I think it's really important that every member within a squad of a team is always open, always honest with. So I'm always there if anyone needed to speak to me as a person, and anyone wanted any advice on anything. I think it's always good to sort of have a shoulder for someone to speak to if they really need it to. And I think obviously if you get to a game and you do hear any form of abuse, I think it's really important to obviously tell people about that, if you know what I mean, to report it to the police or to the staff or whoever that may be, because I think people like you say, people need to realise that there are consequences to actions, and I think it's really important that if you did hear any form of abuse and things like that, I think you have a really big responsibility to, like I say, report that to whoever that may be. But I think that's a really big point.
I think, obviously we're here talking about LGBTQ inclusion, but I think that's the case for any sort of discrimination, isn't it? We've seen all sorts of racism, sexism, homophobia on the pitch, and I think while we're here talking about this subject, it's important that the message is sort of all forms of discrimination are obviously totally out of order in football as a whole, but I mean especially here at Exeter City. Well, that's something that you'd both echo.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think also as players and role models and with almost a platform, we need to show that we are fully behind all these campaigns and that no form of discrimination is okay.
Even getting punched on the pitch, eh, Manfy?
That was mean.
Obviously this year it sort of takes on an extra importance and prominence, that the fact that the World Cup's being held in Qatar. Personally, I've got really strong feelings on it that we could be here all day, so I won't go too deeply into it, but from the start, this World Cup to me, it's just seemed like, I say the word fast, and I think that started with the fact that it's in the winter. What's your opinion on the fact that the World Cup's being held in Qatar this year, Harry? Yeah,
I think, like you say, it's obviously strange it's in the winter anyway, but I think obviously you've seen, I'm sure most people would have seen the laws and the rules that are over there, and I think for LGBTQ plus people, I think a majority of them won't feel safe going over there. And I think football's a game for everyone. Everyone loves football. Like the people that come because they love football. Do you know what I mean? You get 8,000 here, 8,000 here on a Saturday. It's because they love football. And I think football should be there for everyone to be enjoyed. And I think if people aren't travelling to watch World Cup, which obviously only happens once every 4 years, so for them not to feel safe to be able to go and watch the country they support and the country they love is obviously a real issue, I think. So I'll say that's probably my take on it, that I think football's a game for everyone, and for people to feel safe for people not to travel to not feel safe over there is obviously disappointing.
Manfy, you actually travelled to Qatar recently as part of the Neymar five-a-side tournament, who you asked me to name drop there. Obviously, so you've been to Qatar, you've experienced what it's like, what the culture's like out there. Having been there and knowing that the World Cup's going to be held there, have you got any strong feelings on it, or did you not actually feel unsafe? Because obviously for a woman in countries in that part of the world, it can't be easy as well.
Yeah, I mean, the rules and everything are really different over here, and it did take some adjusting to. We obviously had a chaperone who would ensure we were doing things the right way, but it was almost daunting to think that if we did do something wrong, how could we be treated over there? And being LGBTQ isn't doing anything wrong, but I tried to think what would happen, and it doesn't feel the safest environment to be in. But I echo Harry's thoughts on how it is slightly disappointing, but I guess they're going to go ahead with it. So.
I know that some of the girls you were out in Qatar with were openly gay.
Yeah.
I mean, did they ever express any concerns, or before you went, had they spoken about the fact that where they were going, they're technically classed as illegal?
Yeah, we had these conversations in the group chat, and we had to just make sure that we followed the rules and kept each other safe and that sort of thing. And it's not something you prepare yourself to have to be thinking about at all in this country. So when you're travelling abroad and you're thinking, I've got to keep these girls safe because of the way they are, which is ridiculous. Yeah, it's something to definitely consider, and it was a bit scary over there.
Something that I've certainly been seeing on my social media and in the media in general is these armbands. Now in the World, obviously, so this is what the captains on Saturday will be wearing, these Rainbow Captains armband. In the World Cup, England are one of 10 teams who have committed that their captains will wear a One Love armband. Now as someone part of the community, it feels like an empty gesture to me. I don't really know what One Love is meant to mean. Can you, as a straight person, perhaps dissect what it might mean to you?
I think, like you said, they're trying to raise awareness that probably the majority of the people don't. Obviously, people over there might think differently to over here, but everyone over here would agree that their laws aren't right, and like you say, it's very disappointing. So I think they're trying to send a powerful message by going over to their country and showing that we think this is wrong. We're going to be over here and we're going to play football, which is obviously what they're going over to do, but we don't agree with your laws. And like I say, it's so disappointing for people to not be able to go over there because they don't feel safe. So I think it's just trying to sort of show a message that we don't agree with the rules over there. Like I say, come over to play football, but we don't agree with what's happening over there, definitely.
Manfy, again, reverting back to having experienced the culture out there, can you see this World Cup as a driver for change over there? Or do you feel like, while there'll be these gestures during the World Cup, actually, this is their country's laws and you're not going to be able to do much about it?
I would probably say the second one, unfortunately. I think that's just how it is over there. Obviously, the gestures that are being made with armbands and stuff, it's all well and good while the cameras are over there and it's the World Cup, but are we doing this all year round to support the initiative? And yeah, it's a culture over there. It's not just going to change, which is unfortunate.
Thanks so much for your time, you two. We'll end the Rainbow Laces discussion there, but let's talk about football quickly. We'll start with you, Manfy. Sunday, the FA Cup journey starts. A really, really memorable campaign last year, getting to the fourth round against West Brom. Yeah. It all starts in the third qualifying round. Are we going to try and make history again on Sunday?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're really looking forward to it. It's Saltash away, which is just an hour away, so not as far as West Brom. But we're looking forward to it. Love the magic of the FA Cup. We love how far, it was one of the most memorable things of last season, of how far we got. So we're hoping to recreate that and hopefully get a good result on Sunday.
You'll be wearing these, I hope?
I hope. Yes. Well, I said I hope.
Firm, yes, sir. And Harry, Fleetwood at home on Saturday for the men. It's important we just try and get back to winning ways after a disappointing week or two.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you say, there's the performance against Charlton last Tuesday was pleasing. Quite a few aspects of it were pleasing, but obviously the result was disappointing. And then Saturday, I don't feel there's many positives you can take out of it. I mean, it's not like ourselves. It's not like how we want to play at home. So, like I say, we'll be looking to put it right this weekend and try and get 3 points and make SJP a fortress, which it usually is.
I was going to ask you the same question, but I think a lot of you got laceless boots, haven't you? So it's not so easy. But yeah, thanks so much for your time, both of you.